Car-Boyz! We are back, we are back. Like a runaway train. Hello. That's how you salute in England. That's how you salute in America. I've been bored watching you. But you can salute like that in the Royal Navy, just to keep the sun out of your eyes.
Okay.
So you learn something new every day on this show. But Americans do it like this. Hey, we don't. Army, Air Force, it's flat. And that for the Royal
Educational.
Navy. Do you know, you learn something new on this show. Yes, like a runaway train, we return. It's the car program on your radio now with added pictures. Coming up on the show today, we have my usual rant from the common man. And you don't get more common than me, let's face it. This week, I'm taking on the idiots who design our roads. I've got a lovely, lovely piece of road architecture for you. We've also got a very nice vehicle in our classic car selection. This week, it's the perfect ride for that surfer dude. And so that'll keep you guessing. And it wouldn't be the show without a roundup of all the news. That'll be tomorrow's fish and chip wrappings in the news. And talking of people who take on challenging current events of the day, here's Simon. Are you all right?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very good. I believe you're back at work, and you had a harrowing journey through Hammersmith and Fulham.
Yes, I was caught. There was a giant hole in the road. So I managed to navigate that after about 20 minutes to manage to get to the office to do some stapling and some filing. Isn't my job, but that's what I was doing.
That's nice. It's nice you did some keeping busy.
That's better.
Well, I've got a good news story for you in the news about Hammersmith and Fulham. The rest of the world are like, where's Hammersmith and Fulham? But their revenue, it will shock you how much they get from moving traffic violations. Not parking fines, moving traffic violations. Find out about that
later on in the show. We've got a great show for you on the way today. We have some exciting, somewhere exciting international and exotic, and also Wales in our Lost Highway section of this show. We have an amazing competition, yes, called This Is Your Light. You have to guess what the car is from the light. And we'll be posing the question of who is the person that gets into their car, they've paid for their gas or their petrol, and they just sit in it. They just drive off. They don't drive off. They just sit in there like an idiot. Or they're messing around, doing their seatbelt, doing what? Oh,
you didn't say it, but you didn't say makeup, but that's, or hair. I actually try and get in the car. I try and get the car moving before I'm in the whole car. Because I want to get out of there. I want to get out of there and gone. I sat behind a guy on holiday. And the guy went in. And I was like, he's going to move so I can get to the petrol pump. And he came out. And he had a load of coffee. Because now petrol stations are for getting coffee. And then he sat there. And you get every idiot in the car got the coffee.
Yes.
And then you see the seatbelt go on. Oh, here we go. And
just the mirror,
just the mirror. Yeah. And it was, the thing was, it was a 4x4. It was a giant truck. And I was like, any respect I've had for you is now gone. You were just such an idiot. Oh, and we have a new sponsor for the show, very quickly. It's Croak. Croak is the new sponsor. 100% frog. Amphibian.
Nice. All of that and more, so stay tuned. I'm Simon Sidran, and oh yeah, you gotta get Schwiffy. You gotta get Schwiffy in here. It's time to get Schwiffy. Oh yeah, you gotta get Schwiffy. Oh yeah.
Simon Sidran there. Did you rehearse that before? Did you know where that song was from?
The cartoon animated thing.
Ricky and Morty. Yeah, I thought we'd try and get a younger demographic. It's not going to work, but I thought, let's try and get a younger demographic. And as they say, no limit. We'll reach for the sky. No valley too deep. No mountain too high. No limits. We won't give up the fight. We do what we want, and we do it with pride. No. There's no lyrics.
There's no lyrics.
I'm Richard Green, and that's my tribute to the best dance track of the 1990s, of course, 2 Unlimited, with There's No Lyrics. And the guy that just danced, I think he may have done a rap. He used to be a baggage handler at Brussels Airport. And I fear he may have peaked at Brussels Airport. Okay, and this is Car-Boyz.
Car-Boyz.
Welcome to the show. Time now for Richard's take. I am Richard. Here is my take. It's where I take a sideways view of the world from my own weird, and I would argue, warped perspective. But unlike other sections of the broadcast, this will be an open debate. Who am I kidding? It is a totalitarian regime. I shall rule unchallenged as El Jefe and El Generalissimo. This week, I've been pondering the concept of cycling and whether it would be a viable alternative to driving. In a word, yes, but also in a word, no. Now, the reason I'm posing this question is in response to a news story and in response to the British government encouraging us to use bicycles and apparently how this will help fight coronavirus, or as we like to call it here at Car-Boyz, Cortina-19, or the Wu flu. Not sure that me cycling 20 miles into work will combat a global pandemic. But there you go. I digress. The reason for this rant this week is down to a rather interesting news story from the east of England. It's been reported that Britain's first roundabout that gives priority to cyclists has been forced to close after its launch, just days after its launch. A car hit an unfinished beacon on the controversial £2.3 million, I did say £2.3 million system, and left workmen with no choice but to shut it for 3 nights to examine the damage. The Dutch-style roundabout in Cambridge gives rights of way to cyclists who go round it on an outer ring. Although they need to check that cars do stop. Right, okay, so they go on an outer ring round the island or the roundabout, and cars go on the inner ring. Zebra crossings on each approach also mean that vehicles have to give way to pedestrians. I cannot express how dangerous this thing is. In the UK, we've got no experience of this, either as cyclists or as motorists. I'm going to show you a picture. This is it. I mean... It looks like the schematics for some sort of complicated World War I bomb. Look, if you can imagine, so the pink, none of these colours, if you're listening around the world, none of these colours bear any resemblance to any law in the highway code in Britain that exists. It may do in Holland. It's Sauron. White warlord, I can see you, or warlock, or whatever the hell it is. Yes, this is what Gandalf the Grey looks into. So the pink and black and white stripes are where the pedestrians walk. The bit in the middle is the eye where the cars go round. I think you can see a little car here. And the dark burgundy or claret that goes round the outside is the cyclists, which is this bit here. So as a motorist, you're going round, as we obey, obviously, the letter of the English law and we obey the Queen. We go round this way. Sorry, the car's going to go around this way, and the car, like my finger, is going to come off down here. Oh, I'm going the wrong way. Let's try the other way. Let's try that way. Yes. Yeah. No, still going wrong.
That way. Yeah.
And then we'll exit. I'm trying to do it upside down. We'll exit here. Except as the car exits, it has to wait for cyclists crossing this burgundy bit, and then wait for pedestrians crossing what looks like a licorice allsort, and then continue on. Now, the problem is, if you're a motorist coming round this bit, you're concerned about not hitting other cars and not hitting other cyclists. And if you brake before here, what's going to happen to the car behind you? He's going to go straight in the back. I have another picture here. Now, I'm confused. Does the cyclist have priority? Does the motorist have priority when on the island, but not as he exits the island? As a pedestrian, I can use the zebra crossing, which is further down this way.
It's down that way, yeah.
It's down this way. But if you were to stop here, this car looks like a van exiting. There's a stupid bint on the Dutch bike is coming along here. Now, really, she needs to wait for him, but she's not going to. He apparently, I would suggest, has to stop there. If you've never been on this, these don't exist anywhere else in England. So if you're a rep or you're a van driver, you're off to Cambridge for the first time and you come across this, you are going to go straight across that cycle lane, because in the rest of the UK, 60, 70 million people, this crap doesn't exist. We've not had a vote on it or anything. We've got another example. These are cyclists about to be run over. Look at them, the fools. and you can see where the car would exit. Well, it has to stop there, but there's only room for one car. Where am I? This side. One car could fit there to stop for this Bint and her friend. Now, a bigger failure to design a section of roadworks I have never seen. Even in Thailand, where I used to live, they don't have any roundabouts. And they have a better road layout than this. Oh, I forgot. They do have a roundabout. They do have a roundabout, yes. They have one roundabout. And they don't call it a roundabout on Northern Ireland. They call it the Victory Monument because there's a victory to some battle that the Thais won. The locals don't know how to use it. They stop whilst on the roundabout to let traffic pull out. It's absolute chaos. So you're coming up, and what you would usually do in the UK is wait for traffic, and the Thais drive on the left-hand side. They also obey the authority of the Queen. And the Thais come down here, the Thais, or anybody driving a car, could be a German, they come down on the to your right, and usually you let them go because they have priority. But no, in Thailand, they wait for you to pull out. It's bizarre. Now, the reasons, I don't know how to use it, and the reason they don't have roundabouts or islands in the UK, they don't know how to use a roundabout. They've got one roundabout that I could see from 3 years in Thailand, the Victory Monument. They don't know how to use it. Likewise, in the UK, we don't know how to walk across, drive through, or cycle over a Dutch-style cycling-friendly island. We don't know what this is. We've no idea what this is. Right way up. And we've certainly no idea what the Eye of Sauron has. I don't know what that is. It's all very well looking like Holland and saying we should adopt a similar approach to transport. Much more people on bikes and less people on cars. It's all very good, which is great. And the Dutch have been doing this for about 70 years. They've grown up with these laws. More importantly, they know how to ride a bicycle. In a country, I might add, that's as flat as a surfboard, the Dutch do not have a mountain, a hill, or even a hummock between the lot of them. That's why they're so tall. It's no good in traffic system from one part of the world to another and expecting it to work. It'd be like taking a hunter-gatherer from the deepest jungles of the Amazon and being surprised that they can't survive in Manhattan. Oh, really strange that, as they try to hunt gazelle down fucking Broadway. So, all you green activists, you can whine and you can moan about cycling, but that certainly isn't going to get me to be cycling 20 miles to and from work, certainly today, as it absolutely steroided down. It certainly isn't going to get my kids to their grandparents, which is over 100 miles away. But back to the Fenton Road roundabout, which is it's called in Cambridge, which was expected to cost $800,000 to build, and now is estimated to be costing in excess of £2.3 million. Well, at least it isn't a white elephant, is it? Any thoughts,
It's
Simon?
more pink.
Yes, it's actually more pink. It could be the eye of a white elephant.
Yeah.
Gandalf the Grey. What a pile of poo that is. Any thoughts? I know up where you are in Enfield has some amazing traffic management systems.
So in Enfield, what they've done is, so you're talking about the different colours there, which are not the norm of what we have. We have a zebra crossing that is brown brick and black brick.
Ooh.
So it's like a crossing, but isn't a crossing. So it looks like a zebra crossing, but isn't a crossing because the colours are completely wrong. So you don't know whether to stop or not to stop because you don't know whether it's a crossing or not. And they're very crafty because there's a sign.
It's not a race thing, more brown than black.
Maybe, but it says there's a sign that says pedestrians crossing, not pedestrian crossing, pedestrians crossing. So it's just a thing. So, but it's not a crossing.
Does that mean they own the crossing or they're actual pedestrians crossing?
Who knows? Who knows? But it is.
Little commas.
But it's just I don't get it. That roundabout I do not get. We had enough trouble in Germany, driving around in Germany, not knowing what the cyclists are going to do. So when you turn, do you let the cyclist through? Do you not let the cyclist through?
Well,
Does a car go through?
Well, I didn't, and I got shouted at in German. But then you do not undertake on the inside lane in England in a bicycle because you get run over by a semi-truck. But according to my friend from Hanover, they do in Germany. So you have to look to your right and just let the bicycle go, and then you can go. But I just went.
Yes.
I got shouted at. Shall we have some news?
let's have some news. And first off in car sales down, but SUV sales up news. Second-hand sales were cut in half between April and June this year. I wonder why, as the coronavirus lockdown
Something happening around the world.
And private owners selling vehicles. New figures from the Motor Trade Bodies shows that the used car market declined by 49%, with transactions for used cars slipping by 1 million units. That's 1 million cars not being sold. However, industry insiders say the used car market as a whole has performed strongly since lockdown ended. I'm not surprised because people are going out. With prices of small cars in particular increasing as buyers look for more affordable models to run. SUVs have also seen an increase in value since lockdown was eased, as Britons continue to buy older gas guzzling family cars, according to used car valuations experts. Just over 1 million second-hand used cars changed hands in the second quarter of the year, as says the Society of Motor Manufacturers and Traders. That's down from just over 2 million in the same 3 months of 2019, the official records show. Decline followed a bumper in January and February, with growth going into reverse as coronavirus lockdown swept the UK. So, whilst we're taking a look at what is happening in used car sales, let's have a countdown for the top 5 cars sold in the UK in the quarter 2 of 2020. That's it, coming in, and strong number 5, it's Vauxhall. They just cannot kill, selling more than 30,000 units. It's the Astra. It's a good for a pound lion. Again, at 4, it's the Astra's little brother, the Corsa. More than 35,000 being sold. It's blue oval, remaining dominant at number 3. It's all the Fs. It's the Ford Focus that's in at number 3. Close but no cigar at number 2, taking silver from the Germans' most loved second-hand car. It has to be the Volkswagen Golf, selling more than 37,000 cars. And of course, at number 1, for the quarter 2 of 2020, the coronavirus may be strong, but this little pocket rocket is stronger. The acronym may stand for Fix Often and Repair Daily, but this British public love this motor. It's, of course, the Ford Fiesta, selling more than 40,000 cars, not off.
Fantastic there. So I was shocked to see this. The Q2, Ford, yes. Vauxhall, dominating the UK used car market. No change there then. Fiesta, Focus,
Corsa.
How old is the Astra? Is it? It's got to be. Is it like? Is it 40
Since
years
the Bronze
old?
Age, I think.
Yeah, and you can't kill. It's another Astra.
Yes.
And actually, it was a top 10 for this, but we didn't do the top 10. But there was no Japanese cars in there. There was no Korean cars. So it's still the British love. The British do still love their Fords.
Yeah, absolutely.
Amazing.
Even though they're more reliable than they used to be, so you don't have to repair them every day.
But they don't rust like they used to. Meanwhile, in having no license doesn't mean you can't drive news. More than 1,000 drivers, get this, more than 1,000 drivers with 12 or more points on their license are still being allowed to drive on the road, it's been revealed. Figures published by the Driver and Vehicle Licensing Agency, the DVLA, indicate a total of 1,278 drivers are currently driving. They've got at least a dozen points. Wait for this. The motorist with the most points has racked up a staggering 68 points in total.
Wow.
Enough to be disqualified from driving 5 times over. But he or she, or it, or Z, remains behind the wheel today. The information was made available after a Freedom of Information request by the Liberal Democrats. It's indicated there are more than 1 million drivers in the UK who have points on their licences. Thousands are believed to be exploiting a loophole whereby magistrates can use discretion to allow an offender to stay on the road if they believe it would cause exceptional hardship to revoke the licence. A spokesman for road safety charity Brake said if drivers rack up 12 points and they aren't banned, it makes a mockery of the system. I'm interested about the, I mean, it's not many. What are the, maybe, there's like 15 million people that drive, 20 million people? 1,278 is not a lot. But 68 points.
How do you even rack up those 68 points? That's a couple of ball tyres around, speeding on those ball tyres.
Handbrake not working.
Yes.
Shooting through, I would say it would be daily shooting through a speed camera. That's going to give you 3 points every time. Or yeah, a roundabout. Running over a cyclist on a roundabout in Cambridge. Hang on, we've got a picture. Yeah. If you did this every day, you would certainly clock up. If you ran through the Eye of Sauron every single day, you would certainly clock up. But also, do you know what I just thought? This is in Cambridge. They're not like the most, they're a bit hillbilly out there, aren't they? This is not sophisticated Londoners. This is Cambridge. Yeah. I mean, they're all on tractors and combine harvesters. What? Insane. Yeah, so I don't know. The story I could glean no information as how. The only thing I can think of is you maybe have a child that's got special needs. You need to get to a particular school. The only way you can get to the school, maybe they're disabled. Maybe, I mean, we're saying 68 points for one person, but maybe everybody else has got 16.
Maybe they needed to go to Specsavers and had to drive 60 miles to find out.
They did. That could be it. I couldn't see the dashboard. There you go. Oh, I think this one's you. This one's you next. Sorry.
Okay, it's naughty VW gets told off again for their emissions news. Volkswagen appealed against their High Court ruling that it fitted unlawful defeat devices in thousands of UK diesels has been rejected. The German car maker failed in its attempt to fight the decision via the Court of Appeal, which has been described as a landmark ruling, but what looks set to become the UK's largest group action in history. I didn't think we had group action there in this country. It was more America. Around 90,000 motorists who bought or leased one of the 1.2 million affected VW, Audi, Seat or Skoda model diesel models in the UK have taken action against VW for compensation in the aftermath of Dieselgate scandal. Earlier this year, Mr. Justice Waxman ruled that in the High Court that the software function in issue is needed indeed a defeat device. A spokesman for the car giant told us that Volkswagen Group is disappointed with the Court of Appeal's decision, but of course it respects it. In the UK alone, some 500,000 drivers have been affected by the Mercedes-Benz Dieselgate scandal, which could also be eligible to claim back the value of their vehicle. This would be in addition to the £776 million fine the car manufacturer has already faced in Germany, with more than 750,000 vehicles recorded across the country throughout 2018. Oh dear. So emissions are a big thing, and companies are trying to get ever popular and ever sophisticated ways of trying to get around these diesel.
Such as fitting software that gives you a false reading.
How they thought they could get away with it? They would have got away with it if it wasn't for those pesky VW drivers.
It was Shaggy and Scooby and the rest of the mystery and the mystery machine, which I believe was a VW van.
It was, funny enough.
I think the problem with this, and there is an element of where VW were naughty and Mercedes-Benz potentially, both of them potentially were naughty by doing this. I had a conversation with a mechanic who said to me, well, if you think they're bad, Peugeot and Citroens always fail the emissions on their first MOT. So what we have to do is get the engine super hot. So they take them up the bypass, do a few laps of the roundabout and come back, get the engine super hot, then it passes. That's its first MOT. What's that, 3-year-old car?
3 years, yeah.
Now,
3 years.
He said never have to do that with VWs. Okay, you might say the software's lying, but he said some of those French cars are crap from the start. So then if you are driving a Citroen or a Peugeot, I'm not saying it does apply to every single one, and you're doing little journeys, then potentially your emissions are awful all of the time. And I have a very
Yeah.
old Honda, and I tell you this, until that thing's got warmed up, I mean, I would say I do a good 20 miles an hour. The emissions are not right.
Yeah.
Also, everybody I know that's got a VW that they bought that was made in that period, I know about 6 people, they have had no compensation.
Yeah, hence why they're doing a class action
There we go.
case against them. Yeah.
And finally, in electric scooters really are for scumbags news, car drivers are set to pay higher insurance premiums because of accidents caused by electric scooter riders, such as idiots like this.
Yes.
In the UK, the insurance industry has been left with a bill for all incidents involving uninsured vehicles, not just cars. It means they're also liable for collisions involving golf buggies, ride-on lawnmowers, quad bikes, and e-scooters. Stop saying e-scooters. It makes them sound that they're just electric. They're not electronic.
Yes.
Not email. E-scooters driving by somebody that looks like a she-male. The Motor Insurers Bureau, MIB,
Men in Black?
Yeah, Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones, has paid out more than 100 million so far, but estimates that bill will balloon between 200 million and 2 billion a year as claims increase. This could lead to a £50 rise in the annual cost of insurance for the average motorist. In particular, the issue is electric scooters because they are widely used by commuters. I've seen them all everywhere. They are illegal on public roads. They are illegal on cycle lanes. They're illegal on pavements, and they cannot be insured. Fresh fears were raised about their safety last week after 57-year-old Barry Howes from Rochester, Kent, was named as the second person in Britain to die in an e-scooter accident. As the law stands, anything with a motor must be insured. Every morning I go to work, I pass an old man in an electric scooter, you know, the electric mobility scooters, with a crash helmet on and a leather jacket, driving on the road. No number plate. In cases where this has been flouted, they're not insured, victims can be compensated by the Men in Black, the MIB, or the Motor Insurers Bureau. Even when Britain fully leaves the European Union, the government will still need to introduce legislation to change the situation. The scourge of my borough are these idiots. So can we just start arresting them, shooting them? This is not legal. It's completely illegal. I thought this when I started seeing them come out. I went, I think these are illegal. Do you remember those mini motorbikes that came out about 10 years ago? You'd see chavs covered in tattoos on a local, be around a park, on a little mini motorbike. No number plates, no nothing. These are the same thing. Please, we don't want these.
They still want to use our roads.
Listen, if you can give people, if you can, limit them to, 15 kilometers an hour or 15 miles an hour, and limit them to, and then get people to take a test and maybe take some sort of insurance.
But 15 miles an hour, they're like mobile chicanes. You have to go round
before Christmas, I did borrow a micro scooter from work, and I came off it, and it wasn't a pretty. My knee was knackered, my jeans were ripped. I felt like a bit of a twat, and I would certainly not recommend. And I wasn't going. I was doing 10 miles. I was doing less than 10 miles an hour. So this idiot in his board shorts on his way to, I don't know, talk about mansplaining at some horrible conference. Let's just not have any more of that. Please, let's get rid of them. Time for the classic car selection.
Yes.
The jazz band are back. Yes, time now on the show for a classic car selection. It's where we take an unloved vehicle, maybe a diamond in the rough, and polish it to within an inch of its life. We also take a peek at overlooked cars that don't get the recognition they deserve. And they can be yours for pennies. Well, maybe not pennies, maybe pounds. This week, we're in the middle of the summer here in the UK. You wouldn't know it from the rain outside today, but I promise you we are. I thought we'd take a look at a much-loved vehicle that, for many of us, was the mainstay of their summer holidays as children, or was alternatively driven by folk from festivals to the beach and back. Our classic car selection this week is the VW T3 Caravelle. Now, if you want to get into the world of surfing and camping, then, oh yes, there he's got one there. There it is. Fantastic. In the world of surfing and camping, then the VW camper vans are a perfect fit. The last 2 decades has seen early models from the 50s and 1960s, those known as splitties with the split screen down the middle, go through the roof. Examples are being sold for in excess of £30,000, £40,000, £50,000 if you get the right one, with a Porsche 911 engine in the back.
Yeah.
If you box clever, though, you can buy a really nice model of one of these, which is the later model, without breaking the bank. If you turn back the clock to the 70s and the 1980s, you can find a VW bus, a camper, for a bargain price. It's the Volkswagen Caravelle. Over its lifetime, the T25, sometimes called the T3, underwent a series of facelifts and improvements, so that by the end of its life, it was quite a different van from the one that was first launched in the late 1970s. The most significant update was the introduction of new flat-four engines, which were water-cooled to improve running, refinement and fuel economy. Now, in 1984, a 2.1-litre engine with 112 bhp was launched, and this unit, which was powered by the lovely dove blue coloured Caravelle, pictured above, this chap here, I think it's dove blue. In 1986, Volkswagen added a 4x4 synchro model, which had the same 5-speed manual gearbox with first gear used as a crawler. In fact, we'd recommend the late 1980s versions of these cars, as they're less sexy looking, but they're much easier to work on. And with water-cooled engines, bigger gearboxes, they actually don't break. If you get the earlier models, the air-cooled ones, you are going to have to spend your time underneath. So which ones do you look for, and what are the issues they have? Okay, firstly, when you're going to buy a classic car, any car that's over 30 years old, you're going to need the skills to work on it, or alternatively, the cash to pay someone else to. In most cases, dents and rust spots are the way more expensive to fix, I should say, than mechanical issues. Check the floorboards on the bus for any rusted out spots. Oh, sorry, there we go. Check the wheel arches, examine the inside of each one, go along the body line of the entire bus. Surfaced rust is usually okay. I think you can see a bit on the front of this van here on the balance at the front.
Cosmetic.
It's a bit cosmetic rust. It's usually okay. Rust spots that have created a hole can be hard or expensive to fix. That's when you're taking the entire bus off the chassis and sandblasting it. You don't want to get into that. You make sure all your gears work on your test drive. VW buses don't have the smoothest of gear changes, so get used to it. But you should never fall out of gear, or the gear shouldn't whine. Cables are also known to snap, so check the gearbox and make sure everything looks in good shape inside. If it needs a new clutch, it can be a big job. It can be a big job, but not a serious one. This one seems obvious, but many people overlook leaks. Check the oil level. Check where the bus is parked. If you're looking for a big black spot underneath, you know it's going to have an oil leak. They're not like Land Rovers. Land Rovers are supposed to leak. These guys aren't. If you don't know much about engines, try and bring someone with you who does. Ask them to check all the levels around the engine. It's the usual things: mayonnaise under the oil cap. Check that the engine, you haven't got worn out seals. You don't want blue smoke coming out the back, so on and so forth. Brakes should definitely not be a deal breaker. Put my teeth back in. However, you want to make sure the brakes aren't making the van veer off to one side when you press down on them. And so which one to go for? VW camper, a microbus, the camper, which is the Westphalia with the roof that popped up.
Yeah.
A classic camper, that one. It's up to you. For your specific needs, a microbus isn't good for a family camper, but likewise, a Westphalia may be far too much if you really want to use it for just a day van for going surfing. So, this one is a 1988 T25 microbus, a very good condition, a mere 70,000 on the clock. That can be yours for £8,000. And my friend has just sold a 1985 version of one of these with more mileage, more rust, but it had been converted from a microbus into a camper, and she sold hers for £6,000. So nice. that was last week. So you can still get a bargain out there. So why not hang 10, as they say in the surfer world, and get your piece of classic West Coast Americana, a surfer's dream, all the way from West Germany.
Nice. I do like those. I like the the little lights on it, and this one's got a bull bar on the front.
Oh,
well.
yes, it's very cute. You can get your surfboards on the top. In fact, if it was me, now you're a single man, you're a single man, bachelor boy, some might say, but not gay like Cliff Richard. You could just have that for the day, hang out. You could chuck a mattress in the back. Me with kids, what you could do is just buy yourself a really decent tent and chuck it on top.
Yeah.
And just use this for getting from A to B. And you could use this as a daily driver. It's going to need work on, and it's not going to be cheap to fix. But, you know, there we go.
That's the price you pay when you get gas.
If you would like to suggest what we should be doing on our classic car selection, you can get in touch with the show. There we go. Email the boys at boys with a Z, always with Z, outlook.com. You can email the show. Facebook, we're Car-Boys at Car-Boys with 4 Zs. Twitter, Car-Boys at Car_Boys. And as you can see from Simon's side of the screen, Instagram at Car_Boys with 3 Zs. I believe it's time to look at our lost highways. All together now. I can't decide whether that's Hawaiian or country. It's definitely a sliding guitar.
Yes.
Ma, you got a pretty mouth.
So if you're new to the show, this is our feature where listeners email us in and give us their favorite roads and the reasons why they love them. It could be a quiet coastal road that leads down to the sea. Alternatively, it could be a straight 2-lane blacktop that leads to infinity and invites you to gun the pedal to the metal. Whatever your poison is, let us know. Your perfect driving road here at Car-Boyz with all the details we gave you earlier on.
Yes.
First in the mailbox this week is Stacey, who says her favourite road is the A470, which I think is in Wales. If you want to travel between South Wales and North Wales, you have 2 options. You can go through the middle of Wales, which ought to be the obvious option, but it's a bit hilly, and that's where most people take the alternative, which is travel via England, where it's a bit flatter and the roads are faster. Well, the road through the middle, travelling coast to coast in order to link Cardiff to Llandudno, or Llandudno,
there's lovely.
Llandudno, a lovely boy,
lovely.
is the A470, or the Trans-Wales Highway, if you like. It's an important trunk road, receives huge investments from improved works, and yet still, because of its geography, is extremely indirect and slow, which can be fun. That's all. There's no reason why not to use it, though. It's incredibly picturesque, pleasing, quiet, and rather wonderfully varied. The whole drive takes about 5 hours, but it's well worth the ride. No other single road in Wales offers such an incredible cross-section of the beautiful country as the A470 from Llandudno in north to Cardiff in the south. This route takes you through the mountains of Snowdonia, the Cumbrian Mountains, and the Severn and Wey valleys, the Brecon Beacons, and finally through South Wales coalfields.
There's none left. Both of them.
Yes. On this route, don't miss the
I don't know, maybe
Forest Park, the summit of the Crimson Pass. Lovely.
Wait. My grandfather's Welsh. Festiniog.
Okay.
Festiniog. I've been on it. You would like it. The Festiniog Railway's fun.
And the market town of Dongaloo, the cathedral city of Brecon, and the views of the Black Mountains as you drive through the Wye Valley. There you go.
Wye Valley, you're out of Wales. You're there.
Back in England.
Yeah, they're the Black Mountains. Yeah, the Festiniog Railway I've done many times as a child, and it's fun. Steam engines.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
cool.
You see, now you're interested. There's lovely. The problem is
Is it called Ivor?
It's called, and it goes like this. And there's dragons everywhere. That's not an Indian accent. That's me attempting a Welsh one. And now we've lost all the American viewers who've never watched Ivor the Engine. And let's remind the Welsh viewers, Wales, it's a principality, not a country. Do you know what? I did used to slag off Wales because it always rained, and I went for many holidays there and it rained.
Yes.
but I did go up there last year for some work, and the drive was really good. I went partly on this road, and it was fun. There was no other traffic. It was excellent. So I can see why you've given me this one, Simon.
Why?
Because there's Thai pronunciations, and you've struggled with
I like your Thai pronunciation.
Struggled with Festiniog Railway. Moving on to Pretty Fly Guy, who emails in to say his favourite lost highway is in Thailand. The road from Lom Sak in Phetchabun province to Nam Nao National Park is quite a sensational drive. The scenery of majestic mountains linked together across dark ravines by the Po Kun Pa Muang Bridge, also known as a To Hwai Tong Bridge, is simply stunning. The bridge is supported by the tallest column in Thailand, and it's possible to stop to take pictures at the roadside rest area before driving across into the national park. Many people use this road to go to Chum Phai in Khon Kaen, but for nature-loving travellers, this road makes a most enchanting drive with pine forests of the Phetchabun range embracing both sides of the road. Travellers can enjoy the bewitching views of sunrise or sunset and take photos of Pho Co. Travellers can view the first light of day shining on the sea of clouds that cloaks the Montagne forest. Here for a great sunset view. Make a stop at Tam Pa Hong Cave viewpoint. There is a 300-metre trail from the parking area through the bamboo forest down to a cave, which is also the viewpoint for sunset. Hidden further down the forest is Huao Sai waterfall, suitable for swimming. It's a hot part of the world, but this you're heading over towards Laos and Cambodia. It's northeastern Thailand, which I'm not really familiar with because there's not a lot there. It's apart from that bridge, it's slightly less jungle than there's not less jungle. There's the same amount of jungle. There's less rainforest. It's less green. It's a little bit more arid. It's still incredibly hot. It's a bit of an undiscovered part of Thailand. And if you go, you will get hotels for absolutely pennies. In Thailand, you pay for the beach. You get up north, either northeast where I used to go, northwest where near the Burmese border, I went most of the time, get a hotel room for £3 or £4. Probably a little bit more these days, but still. And the northwest, even cheaper. You will literally be in a town and there'll be some bamboo huts and it will have a fan and a TV, nice bed, nice little concrete floor, and you're going, £4 night. You go, do you know what? That sounds very good. So I thoroughly recommend it. Roads in Thailand are interesting.
Okay.
Just gently. I'll put it like this. The Thai driving license, of which my friend got one, for viewers new to the show, I lived in Thailand for 3 years. My friend has an English driving license and a Belgian driving license. I think I might have a German one. And he went and took the Thai driving license. And I said, well, what did that consist of? I got in the car, we drove to the end of the road, and then I gave the policeman some money, and he went, yeah, you've passed your test.
I see. Is that how it works then?
Yeah, it's a little bit of that. You put it like this: you cannot rent a car in the UK and on a Thai driving license.
Right.
If you want to get in touch with this show, give us your highways. You can email the Car-Boyz at car-boys, boys with a Z, alls with a Z, at outlook.com. Facebook, car_boys with a Z, at Car-Boyz, 4 Zs at the end. Twitter, car_boys, at car-boys with a Z, at car_boys with a Z. I've lost my Instagram piece of paper, which should be down here. No, it's now disappeared.
_boys with 3 Zs.
I have to go. There it is. There. No, it's there. There. That one. That guy. No, that guy. Brilliant. Right, it's time now on the show to delve into the bulging sack that's known locally round here as the mailbag. And this week, it's overflowing.
Or readers' wives.
Trust you to lower the tone. Readers' wives. Again, it's another cultural reference that American viewers will not have no doubt about.
Look it up.
No, don't look it up. Readers' wives, of course, obviously, it pertains to subscribers to an intellectually stimulating magazine popular in the 1970s, 1980s, and they would proffer pictures of their wives in said magazine.
Yes, we don't get any of that. None of that's sent to us at all. Moving on, it is, of course, a mailbag. Sophie from Cambridge, near the roundabouts, says, "Hi, boys. Loving the show. Thank you." She has a problem with her BMW 1 Series. It's a 2013 coupe. I do like the coupe.
Yeah.
A lovely car, but the paint on the bonnet seems to be flaking off by the badge. She has had a close look and it looks pitted. Generally, any idea? I do know BMWs have problems with paint, because I know with the Mini it's pretty much the same. I don't know whether it's something they do in the process or whatever, but yeah, the bonnets are really bad.
I would say possibly this has had a crash, because she said the paint's peeling off. She's mentioned orange peel, but she said also the paint's peeling off. So I reckon it's had a crash. I reckon it's been resprayed, possibly outside, definitely at the wrong temperature. When this is done, if it's been resprayed and not in a professional booth, then and at the wrong temperature, you're going to get moisture in it. You get an orange peel effect on the car. If it was just orange peel, you could sand it back with some wet and dry, really, really fine wet and dry, and then buff it out. You could get somebody to professionally do that for you as well. Now that the paint is flaking off the bonnet, you're going to need a respray. You've got no choice once the paint is flaking off. You're right, though. I owned a BMW and I had orange peel on both wings. And they'd never, I couldn't find any other signs of accident damage. And what I did is I just buffed it out. I took T-cut and I took one of those electric buffers and I got rid of it. And you see it done on bad resprays where it's the wrong temperature. But I think BMW have had a problem with this for years.
I think it is. It's probably a quality control problem with BMW, because I know the Minis are like that as well.
There you go.
Unfortunate news, Sophie.
Yeah, sorry about that. You might have to. You're just going to look at 700 quid for a bonnet?
Yeah,
maybe. I mean, it's, if you like the car,
don't go to your dealers. Go to your local independent garage.
Find somebody. Go online. Go onto something like the Nextdoor app and say, does anybody know somebody that does really good work on cars? And then ask them if you can, if they've done work on your car, if you can have a quick look, and then you can judge. We're moving on now to America, over to Long Island, New York. Alison says, "Hi, Car-Boyz. Hope you're good. We are good. Hello." She's doing a European tour. Hello. France, Italy, and Greece. Not now, when COVID-19 is over. So 2036. Yeah. She'll be able to come on. Cars will be flying by that stage. So should she hire a car and drive across Europe, or should she go by train, or should she go by plane? Now, we can only speak of things pre-coronavirus. You can't do any of that at the moment. Yes. I think you should possibly do one of two things. So if you're really adventurous and say it's just you, and a young friend, maybe hire a camper van in Europe. You could drive around France. You go all the way down Italy. You go to France. You go to Dijon. You go to Champagne. You can go to Burgundy. There's a theme here, isn't there? You can go to Bordeaux. You can go to Côte d'Or. Oh no, you go to Armagnac. Where else could you go? You could go to Anjou, where you could get Rose d'Anjou. You could basically get drunk all over France, all the way down into Italy. And then you could catch a ferry with your camper van and you could go to Corfu. And then from Corfu, you could go on to mainland Greece. Or you could do it on a train or a plane. Because, pre-COVID, that was not expensive to do. Occasionally, because with a camper van, you can stay in a camper van. So that's reduce your hotel fees. If you don't fancy staying in a camper van, do it on a plane, train, occasionally hiring a car if you get out to somewhere where there's no public transport. Bearing in mind, Europe is much more public transport friendly than the US. So it is far easier to jump on a plane or jump on a train in Paris and go to Rome. It's not hard to do. I think they still do Interrail.
Funny enough, I asked this week. I think it's about £200 and lasts you a month.
Really?
Yeah.
That's incredibly good.
So that's pretty good, considering in London it costs us about that for
the. I can't believe it's £200.
I think it's about £200.
Because I remember as a kid, it was 50 or 60 pounds. That was 30 years ago. 50 or 60 pounds a month And I'd have mates that couldn't afford a hotel room. So what they would do, they would go, I'm going to Bologna from Berlin. Why? Well, I'm going to sleep on the train.
Yeah.
So it's a cheap, and then I'm going to come back because I want to go to Berlin, but I can't afford a hotel room. And then they go out and get drunk in Berlin, come back to the station, grab their kit, and jump on and go, where are you going to? Dresden. Why? I don't know. Just because I sleep on the train. Then what we do? Go out in Dresden, have a few beers, and then come back to Berlin
Get back on the train.
So that is a really cheap way to do it.
Yeah.
It's not like America. Trains in America are an absolute nightmare, and Americans have to appreciate the distances over here. You need to think of Europe as more like Manhattan than America. I mean, there's many different ways to get around, and often public transport is the cheapest. Although at the moment you're buggered, so don't do that.
Moving back to this country, we've got David from Weymouth. He says he wants to buy a cheap second-hand 4x4 for getting out and about when you can, fishing and walking and trips to the summer markets. That's it. What should he go for? He likes the look of the Hyundai Santa Fe, or how about the Nissan Qashqai?
Kumquat.
Not a fan of the Nissan Hyundai. I do know some people that have had the Hyundai, and so they're pretty good.
That's the
one.
That's the old version of the Santa Fe. I still see a lot of these on the road. I don't think they're going to last forever, but he's only got £2,000, isn't it?
Yeah.
This one is a 2006 model, 80k on the clock, £2,000. Right?
Nice.
Same £2,000, 2008. Yes. It's a horrible colour. Nissan Kumquat, Nissan Qashqai. Same money, although unlike the Santa Fe, this is only two-wheel drive.
Okay.
But I would say this is by a car company that are going places, and this is by a car company that have already been to places and now been bought by the French. These cars
it's now
are badly made. Now, my brother's had one of these, and that's brand new. He's had issues. Almost all of the mummies, the yummy mummies at my daughter's school and my son's nursery have one of these.
Sounds about right.
They've all had issues. I know a couple of people with one of these, and they say it's fine. It's diesel, it's sluggish, but it is four-wheel drive. Now, I reckon David wants fishing, walking. Yeah,
go for that.
That's the car to go for. Less headaches with that. And I have a story that my stepsister was told to buy one of these, but she wanted an A-class Mercedes instead.
How wrong.
Should have bought that, sis. Had lots of problems. Finally, Toma in Cyprus. Hello, Toma. Big fan of cute 1960s two-seater cars. I didn't wonder where we were going there. I thought we were going to be Me Too by Toma. He fancies an Austin Healey, frog-eyed Sprite. Look at that. Where would he start to get hold of one? I don't know how.
Cyprus.
Yes. Now this is the problem. So have a
look.
What
road do they drive?
Same as us. They obey the authority of the Queen. So these are perfect. Cyprus and Malta. Yeah. Malta, you might find one. We had a look online. The local classic car club, the Paphos, has a local classic car club specialising in British cars. So go and have a look around there. We go look at forums online, look at the UK Owners Club for Austins, frog-eyed Sprites. It's an Austin Healey. They're going to give you lots of advice. They are cute cars, difficult to maintain these because they've got carbs. They've got a low power 1000cc engine. They are getting rare. They're getting expensive. We couldn't find one cheaper online for £12,000. This is very rare. The only other place outside the UK I can think of to buy one is Australia, maybe. They've got lots of British cars over there. You'll find probably, again, they drive on the right side of the road, the left. Shouldn't be too much to import this car. Unlike Britain, Australia, Cyprus, Malta, all respect the authority on the Queen and drive on the left-hand side of the road. The other thing to do is the kit car company, Bantam, were taking, I think, mini Metros and putting a plastic fiberglass kit on it and turning it into this. But It's a kit car. Just go and save up the money and buy the real thing. I think you're going to struggle in Cyprus, but probably cost you $1,000, $1,500 to get it imported, and then you're going to have to pay some sort of duty to import it into Cyprus. But a super cute little car.
Very cute.
And a lot of fun. A lot of fun. It's effectively, now, am I right? It's the Austin Healey MG, isn't it? It's the same thing as the MG.
It's their version, yeah.
But it's just a little bit cuter than the midget. It's basically an MG midget. So, but I thoroughly think that is a fantastic little car. But you've got to have deep pockets to maintain it, deep pockets to buy it in the first place, and try and spend as much money as you can and get a good look. Don't buy one of these things online. You want a good look at the car, and that's about it. If you want to get your you know the thing. It's the usual thing.
Yeah.
If you want to get your questions onto the car quiz.
Car-Boyz.
There you go, Car-Boyz online. I believe we've got a quiz.
We have. Of course. Thank you. It is, of course, the Car-Boyz big quiz this week. We spend half our time sat in traffic staring at the rear lights of a car in front. So this week, the quiz is called This Is Your Light.
See what you did there.
No, I'm not going to bring you a red book. So can you tell what the car is from the rear tail lights? We have our lucky contestant. This week, it's Richard from Southwest London. Now, Richard, do you get stuck in traffic often?
All the time, Bob.
Well, that's good. That's good training for you. You may have seen some of these cars on our roads. You may not have seen any of these cars. I will give you a clue if you need help. So what we're going to do is I'll give you 10 of these and, of course, a lifetime supply of Croak available to win.
Oh, yes. I think Croak's gone in the bin. Hang on. I'll try and revive it. Croak. 100% frog. Shake the can.
Nice.
Wake the amphibian. See what I did there? Shake the can.
I like that.
Wake the amphibian. Always thinking.
Nice. Right, so eyes down, look in. So let's go with number one. We're going to start with a fairly easy one for number one. What car rear light is this from?
Audi TT? No, wait. Porsche, no, Porsche 911.
It is Porsche 911. Well saved, yes. Rear-ended car from Germany, and of course,
it was the louvered bit at the back, right at the top.
You're looking at that.
Yes. Well done. Thank you for that. A little bit of louvering.
Yes, one right.
Hey!
Correct. Right answers. Okay, so car number two. What car do these lights belong to? Would you like a clue?
Yes.
James Bond would have loved one of these.
Oh, so I was going to say Bond. Mazda 6. Obviously, no.
Yes, I see where you're going with that.
Oh, so we're maybe talking Mazda, maybe talking Ford. Are we talking Aston Martin?
We are talking Aston Martin.
DB5?
Bit higher, bit newer.
DB6?
One more.
DB7?
Yeah, DB7. Right, I have been busy photoshopping the badges off these cars.
So I was going to say, so basically, what we're discovering is, because I'm a man of poor means, I recognise it's exactly the same effing lights in the Mazda 6 and the Mondeo of the same era, or possibly the Ford Probe. Yes.
I did steer clear of cars that had the same lights as other cars, especially those using kick cars.
But we're discovering that lots of them do. Or parts bid.
And number three, what car is these lights from?
Das ist einen Subaru Impreza. Oh no, Nissan Skyline.
It is Nissan. Yes, Skyline. I'll give you that.
Yes,
it is Nissan Skyline. Yes, the PlayStation car of a generation.
Yes,
I should have known. Well done.
Fantastic, thank you.
Photoshopped the badges off those ones as well.
Oh yes, well done, good man.
Well done. Okay, slightly harder now for all our American friends. It's probably a lot easier. What car do these tail lights belong to? Would you like a clue?
Yes, please.
The name of this car was a BBC cancelled rubbish soap opera set in Spain of the same name.
Oh, it's a Cadillac Eldorado.
It is the Cadillac
Brilliant,
Eldorado.
thank you.
Absolutely right. With the rocket tail lights. There you go. 4 out of 4 so far.
I hear the Eldorado set is still there in Spain.
Probably.
Yeah, it's still there.
Are probably still there as well.
Yeah.
Well done. 4 out of 4.
Fantastic,
okay.
thank you.
Number 5. I don't know if you'll need a clue for this one. What car are these lights from?
Oh, it's my car. It's the Honda Accord.
It is, yes.
But I believe that might be the previous model to mine. I think I might be on 9. That might be 8.
I don't know, but it is a Honda Accord.
It is a Honda Accord. I've polished those bastards many a time.
The clue was you own one of these. There you go. That's
Yes.
5 out of 5. Well done. Slightly harder. Go to the 90s for this one. What car are these tail lights from? Awful car, but what car are they from?
All right. I want to say Saab, but you just said awful car, so maybe.
Would you like a clue?
Yes, please.
It was a 1990s Repmobile. See them on the motorways all the time in the 90s.
In the 90s, so it's Mondeo or Rover. No, that's not.
Is that your final answer?
1990s Repmobile. Vauxhall Carlton.
Oh, nearly. It was the Vauxhall Cavalier. Close, but no cigar.
Close, but no cigar.
That's the Cavalier.
I was showing that and the Senator. Yes, you went awful. I went, it's got to be a Vauxhall.
And of course, those were the lights, but this bit here was actually just a reflector stuck on the boot lid.
Oh, genius. Total class from the GM group, as per usual.
Okay, so 4 out of 5 so far.
That's it.
Sorry, 5 out of 6, I should say.
Okay.
What car do these rear headlights belong to?
Toyota MR2. Have a clue.
Would you like to try again?
Yes, please.
It starred in the video to the Human League's Don't You Want Me, Baby.
Oh, Rover SD. Yeah, Rover SD.
Rover SD1, absolutely.
Yes,
right,
sorry,
yes.
SD1. Yes, that's the one.
Or, if you wanted to, upside down, there were the Lotus.
I was going to say, no, and the DeLorean. Wasn't it the same lights as the DeLorean?
They were just turned upside down. That's all that happened to them.
We're talking Austin Rover part spin now, aren't we?
Yes, absolutely.
Brilliant.
Yep, Austin Rover part spin. Well done. What was that? 6 out of 7.
Yeah, that'll do.
Okay, so number 8. What car do these lights belong to?
Oh, your bloody Mini. Your new bloody Mini. Look at it. With the English flag made in Germany. Yeah,
I was going to say that clue was patriotic German English car.
Well, they are. They are. Let's be honest. They are still made, aren't they, in Oxford?
In Oxford, yes.
They're still made in Oxford. So but the company's German. I mean, is it, absolutely can we say they're like collaborators? If BMW ever fail, will we round up Mini owners and shave their heads?
Shoot them.
Mind you, in your case, it's a bit too late.
I'm all right.
You've already done it.
That was, of course, the Mini tail lights.
Yes, it was.
Something slightly harder now.
Don't mention the four. Go on.
What car is this from? These lights
from? This is very nice.
Would you like a clue?
Yes, please.
It's built in Woking.
Oh, it's a Noble. Noble? No.
Oh no, it's not a Noble. Would you like to try again? They have a racing team.
Oh God, I should know. This is McLaren.
It is a McLaren.
Ah, sorry.
Do you know which one? I'll give you half a point for that.
One of the many McLarens that I own outside.
Yes, McLaren P1. You did say once, but I'm going to give you half a point for
P1.
that. Well done.
I didn't know they were built down the road in Woking. There you go. And a Noble, what's it? Noble out in Norfolk?
Yes, probably. And they use Mondeo lights, but I didn't
there we go.
And number 10.
Just in case I was wondering which I wasn't. But anyway, go ahead.
Perhaps the most iconic rear lights of them all.
Go on.
What is this from?
Oh, it's a BMW. It's the back car, isn't it? BMW to. No, am I wrong? Am I in the wrong track here?
You are. They had similar lights, but they weren't. It's not this one.
This is Ford.
It is Ford.
Lotus. Cortina.
You can be a Lotus. It is
Cortina.
the Mark 1 Cortina with the CND lights.
Oh, recovery. They had
There
similar lights. Yeah, no, now I can see it. That's real bad of me. I'm not a massive... It's a little bit before my time. I know you're a complete Ford fanatic, so you knew that the moment you laid eyes on it.
Yes. There you go. So what's that? 8.5 out of 10.
I'll take that.
You win the supply of Croak. Drink to your heart's content.
Thank you. What do I win? A life supply of
Croak.
A Croak. Oh yes, Croak. Wake the can, shake the amphibian.
The amphibian.
What a fantastic logo. We've copyrighted it now. A little C.
Yes.
C. Shake the can, wake the amphibian.
2020.
2020. I don't think anybody is actually going to bring out a brand of soft drink called Croak. But you know, I'm still waiting for my ship to come in. I think it's called the Titanic, unfortunately. Get in touch with the show. Usual thing. Email the Car-Boyz at car-boys@outlook.com. Facebook, car-boys at Car-Boyz with 4 Zs. Car-boys at car_boys with 1 Z. And he keeps showing four Cortina lights and a bloody Mini. Goddamn collaborators, the lot of them. See you next time. Goodbye.
Goodbye.